Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in. And what we have for you today is a conversation about a market that you probably have heard of, you've probably engaged in it, but we are here to give you a little more details. This is the refurbished market, and I have with me Mandeep Manocha. Have I said that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Mandeep Manocha, who's the co founder and CEO of Cashify. First of all, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Samir. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and before we get into what Cashify is, the refurbished market is something that I think our audience need to know about a little bit. So can you start talking about the foundation? When did the refurbishing market become a big deal in India? How big of a deal is it? If you can share some numbers and statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And, what is the state of the refurbished markets for electronics and other goods in India?
Sure. So, first of all, thanks for having me. I think it's a topic which is not understood very well because the term refurbished goods is, used very loosely in the market today. Uh, Typically, you know, a refurbished product is something which is actually repaired or has some part which is replaced. The refurbishing company has confidence that okay, this is going to work for at least 6 months or 12 months. It comes with a lot of brand trust, or the trust from the OEM side if OEM is refurbishing, or a third party like us who's refurbishing and putting their brand name and say a minimum 6 month warranty or a 12-month warranty. So that's what I call refurbished products. But a lot of products which are pre-owned, for example, Samir sells something to a shop in your local ecosystem, and he sells that phone as is without doing any value addition to it. It's technically not a refurbished phone.
Yeah.
It's just a hand me down or a pre-owned phone which is sold back. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a clear demarcation between the two. But what ends up happening is everything is being termed as a refurbished phone. So there's a slight differentiation there.
Hmm.
So the devices which actually go through some kind of value addition is
Hmm.
something that I would call a refurbished device.
Okay.
Okay.
So when we come to Cashify as a service provider for refurbished gadgets, could you tell the audience a little bit about what Cashify is, where it started, and what do you guys deal with, and how does it work?
Sure. So we started with the aim of making life simple for people who want to sell their used products, especially laptops and smartphones. We started somewhere around 2013, end of 2013, with laptops as our primary category. Uh, we realized that it's not easy for anybody to sell their devices. It had become pretty simple just logging on to Flipkart or Amazon to buy a new product. At that time, Snapdeal was also big. So, you could just place an order and things would come to your place. But there was no platform where the reverse was happening. So if you bought a new iPhone, your only choice to sell your old iPhone was to either go to a shop or listed on a classifieds site, and you would get n number of calls, people haggling with you, negotiating with you, asking you to come to a say a metro station or a random location to make the transaction happen. So we saw a gap there. And somewhere we also had a personal experience. At a point, one of my laptops had gotten stolen, and I wanted to buy a cheap laptop because I did not want to spend that much money. And I went to Nehru Place to figure out what's the laptop that I should buy. And to my surprise, it wasn't an easy process. I mean, if you had to buy a second-hand laptop, there was no warranty, there was no guarantee. The moment you move out of the store, you know, the shopkeeper would say, okay, it's not my guarantee if it doesn't work, say tomorrow. So we saw opportunity both the side that, at one point people are buying new devices online, so they want to sell their old products. And the other side, the process of buying a second-hand product is very tedious. There is no trust. There is no, brand which is solving that. So we started this company, by putting up a website where anybody can get the worth of their old device. And if you like the price that we quote, we come to your house, we pick up the device, and you get your money instantly. Just to give you a
Okay.
perspective on the numbers, uh, around 130 million smartphones are sold in India every year. That's around 13 crore smartphones are being sold. And the average lifespan of a device, where people hold a device and then think of changing or they actually end up changing, is around 15 to 18 months. which used to be around 24 to 36 months or maybe more good old Nokia days. But now people want to change the devices faster. And at the same time, the penetration of smartphones is around 40-45%. So at one side, you have people changing their smartphones pretty fast. And on the other side, there's a 55% population which does not have an access to smartphones. So we
Yeah.
see, a significant demand side and the supply side play in this market, and that's why we started. And our estimate is that every year, around 4 crore to 5 crore second-hand devices change hands in India. Largely unorganized. The organized players like us would not even contribute to 7 or 8% of the overall transactions that happen. So
Okay.
there's a large chunk of transactions which is happening in the offline, unorganized fashion.
So when you talk about the actual refurbishing of the gadgets, now I've actually owned a refurbished smartphone once, and what I was told is the battery was changed to a newer battery, so the battery life
Yeah,
of a phone isn't affected. Things like the display was checked to see if the touch response wouldn't go bad. There were no
correct.
blemishes on the physical camera itself, so that the camera worked as it's supposed to. Are these things taken care of by Cashify itself? Do
Yes.
you refurbish the gadgets physically yourself in a center
Yes.
somewhere, or
Yes.
is it outsourced?
No, we do all the
Okay, so all the refurbishing is done in-house. Now, like you said, you've also catered to laptop as a category, which was the void that you felt. And electronics is, of course, the one category where refurbishing is something that really helps increase the lifespan.
correct.
Outside of electronics, are there any other devices that you cater to?
We do some bit of gaming consoles. We tried a hand at televisions, but beyond that, beyond these categories, we haven't actually ventured out. We've recently added smartwatches as a category, and that's doing pretty well on our platform. We are very mindful of the size of the gadget. If it's pretty large, the way our logistics and the supply chain is built is not built for, say, a refrigerator or a washing machine or, say, a 55-inch TV for that matter. So you're focusing on mobility devices which are small, can be carried by a rider on a motorcycle, and that's going to be the focus area for another couple of years as well.
All right. Okay. So when you talk about these parameters for buying these gadgets from someone, let's say I have a phone where everything is functional, but the battery just lasts a couple of hours, because the battery is the one component that's dead,
Yeah.
or somebody has a phone where the display is broken, but the rest of the phone is functioning fine. So do you have certain parameters that you check which not only affect you picking up the device from the consumer, but also maybe vary the price you will pay the person when
Sure.
you're picking it up?
Yeah, so most of our customers, they download a diagnostic tool on their mobile phone while they're selling. So our remote diagnosis checks all the conditions, functional condition of the device, and we know what's working, what's not working before we quote a price. And on the physical side as well, we ask customers to take a few pictures. And now we are working on, the back end of image recognition, where once you click, say, pictures of all 6 sides or 8 sides of the device, the computer will, evaluate the device and grade it basis the condition and give you the best possible price for it. So we have a very robust pricing engine, which defines the price of the device basics. What functional defects does it have, or what physical defects does it have? And once we give a price, we hold the price, and we make sure that when we come to your house, and if everything is as is that you had mentioned while taking the quote, you get your money instantly.
Okay, so it's like an account transfer that takes
It's
place, or
it's an account transfer that takes place. I
okay.
mean, as a customer, you have a choice to take the money in your bank account, or you can even take vouchers of Amazon, Flipkart, etc., where you get slightly higher value as well.
All right. Okay. Now, when you take these gadgets in and you've probably refurbished it, let's say a smartphone or a laptop, then what is the kind of guarantee that or a warranty that you offer a consumer who's buying it? Do you also tie up with the manufacturer or the brand as well to offer this, or is this something that's Cashify only?
So we do a 6-month warranty on every device that we sell. And in certain cases, we also give a customer an option to increase the coverage beyond 6 months by paying slightly extra.
Just like any
Uh,
extended warranty that
any
one would
extended
take
warranty,
when you,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to the refurbished markets, one of the other brands that one has heard of is, let's say, Green Dust, for example, right? They have a presence offline where somebody can actually go and see. before the lockdown, actually a few years ago, I had gone to a Green Dust store and I actually saw a television over there as well,
Yeah, yeah.
where they said, there's literally nothing wrong with it. There is just one edge of
Scrap.
the TV which is chipped, and which is why
Yeah,
we are selling this at such a low price.
yeah.
So that offline experience actually does change perceptions about, of course, in today's date, getting offline, going to a shop is going to be difficult. But do you ever see that touch and feel that you get when you go to a Chroma or a Reliance Digital or any offline shop, adding
Right.
value for a customer's confidence in refurbished gadgets?
No, absolutely. I think majority of the customers prefer buying a device in the offline ecosystem. Buying a device, a refurbished device online is still pretty new, and I think a couple of e-commerce companies, major e-commerce companies, trying to do that. But still, there's a long way to go. And I personally believe that this business model is going to be highly successful and accepted in the offline space. When you talk about Green Dust, their main focus was white goods, TVs, refrigerators, and washing machine, and that's what you may have seen in their stores.
Yeah.
Uh, and one of the other things that Green Dust was focused on is buying these devices from the OEMs.
Hmm.
The devices which were in transit damaged, or the box was damaged. We are pretty different from that. We focus on post-consumer devices. So we
Hmm.
don't buy directly from the OEMs, not even a single device. We'll
Hmm.
buy from people like you and I.
Hmm.
The device which is used for 10 months, 12 months, 15 months, and then add value, extend its life cycle, and make it available to people. So
Hmm.
there is, some difference. On the offline touch and feel piece, we also feel, it's an important segment. And today we have 38 stores of our own, where you can walk in and buy a refurbished device. And apart from that, we work with a lot of distributors in tier two, tier three towns who purchase these refurbished devices from us, and then they sell in turn on their retail counters to end customer. So ultimately, it is important. I would say even today, 70-75% of our business
Hmm.
happens in the offline world.
Okay. So, like you said, you give this to retailers in some cities, and then they hand it off to the customer. Similarly, are you looking at selling these refurbished gadgets with a refurbished tag on e-com websites like your Amazons and Flipkarts?
We do that. We do that, Samir. We sell on Amazon. We sell on Too Good. We are one of the largest sellers of refurbished devices on their platforms.
Hmm.
Apart from that, we have our own Cashify platform, shop.cashify.in.
Hmm.
Uh, Sorry, store.cashify.in. You can buy a refurbished device from there as well.
All right. Okay. Now, coming to the current situation that we've been facing for the past 1 year, a lot of people have been working from highest question that we've answered is something like a budget laptop to work from home or budget desktop home setup. People are buying phones for their kids to attend classes online, tablets, all these other small gadgets that you've also been catering to. Have you seen a rise in demand in these categories, or a rise in curiosity for buying a refurbished product rather than paying full price for the same product in the first hand market?
Well, Samir, in the last 3 months, I've seen many new demand pockets getting opened up. And the most interesting and, the most obvious is the students that, currently who are going through this,
Hmm.
not going to the school phase. So there's a large pocket which is opened up in the student segment. Parents are buying tablets, smartphones for their kids. And I've also seen a very high surge in demand in the lower strata of the society, the
Hmm.
maids, the drivers, the cooks and their kids, because they're the most hard hit.
Hmm.
Because essentially in homes like yours and mine, there's not just one smartphone, there are two or three smartphones. Everybody has a smartphone, right? But in those kind of households, there's only one smartphone. And when the
Hmm.
father goes out to work, the child has no option. There's no way that he can get online and study. And I've seen that anecdotally, personally. My maid has bought 15 phones from me over the last 2 months.
Hmm.
All our neighbors, people who she knows, is buying phones from us. And there's surge in demand in the pockets where we have our own retailers and distributors, in those particular pockets where lower strata, lower income people are living.
Hmm.
So education is clearly one big segment where the demand pool is coming up, and of course, people are getting a little bit more conscious on their spends.
Hmm.
Uh, even though we're all, everybody wants to own the better brand and the better model.
Yeah.
Uh, but given the situation, since everybody is conscious of the amount they want to spend, we've seen demand surge there as well.
Yeah, like you said, see, there are certain pockets of people that are coming and are okay with a refurbished gadgets, right? Like someone who's young and educated is going to do his homework and realize that, okay,
Correct.
refurbished doesn't just
It
mean
makes
second
sense.
hand. Yeah. Then, like you said, those that you can help out and spread the word in a community that refurbished is a good thing. Can you talk a little bit about, instilling the confidence of people who may not be that confident about the refurbished market, any activities that you've undertaken, or how do you communicate to the lay audience who is probably still a little, apprehensive about purchasing a refurbished, hey, this is good.
Well, ultimately, see, uh, we have taken the offline route to sell the devices, and we believe that the personal touch or the communication or education that happens at the point of sale when you're standing to buy a device, you can't beat that in
Yeah.
any other fashion. And what we also do is we make it pretty evident on our platform, on all our communications, that we do a 32-point check on every device. We give a 6-month warranty. We pack it nicely in a box with a new charger, new data cable, etc. So as a consumer, when you get a hang of the device, it looks like a completely new device. So, packaging plays a important role. The communication that look, we stand behind this device. There's a 6-month warranty. If there's anything wrong, we'll make sure that you get the best in class service. We haven't yet engaged in any marketing campaign around it because I think that's the job of the biggies to educate the market. And I think Amazon and Too Good are doing a decent job in educating people by, having that category on their platform and, educating them. But apart from that, it's we are very strong believers that this market is going to be primarily offline for at least next 1 or 2 years, uh, till the confidence of the customer increases and he's okay to buy a new device, a refurbished device online. So our focus is and will be on the offline market for sure.
So, like you said, in the short term, of course, it's going to be the offline market which is going
Yeah.
to do it. But if you talk about, let's say, the next 5 to 7 years of this industry, where do you see it going? So, for example, someone like me, when I go to upgrade my phone or my laptop, I usually have, either an OLX type platform where I'll put it up and say, this is what I'm selling it for, or go to an
Yeah.
offline shop which I know will exchange it at a decent price, right? How do you probably see this change in the next couple of years to people giving it to a refurbished platform?
Hmm.
I mean, where do you see this industry going in the next 5 to 7 years long term? Would
Well,
someone
I
like
think
me choose a Cashify to say, let me sell this here because I'm getting a better price as a seller, or, as a responsible guy saying this will get sold at a much better position as a product in the future?
Well, I think it's a very price sensitive and a deal hunt kind of market that we live in India. So
Yeah.
ultimately, it will boil down to what is the best deal that you're getting on. And I
Hmm.
believe that over the next 5 to 7 years, once the smartphone penetration reaches around 70-75% in the country, majority of transactions would be exchange or upgrade transactions. Given all people would have a smartphone, they would want to move from, say, a lower brand to higher brand.
Hmm.
Okay. And this industry will evolve in a way that people like us will also start offering exchange. So today you get exchange only on Amazon or Flipkart. We're
Hmm.
also thinking of, enabling exchange in a different fashion,
Hmm.
where at the point that you're, buying a new device, I'll give you an option to sell and make your purchase better. Of
Hmm.
course, the parallel side where non-exchange transactions will exist to a large extent as well, because it's not always obvious and possible for you to hand over your device instantly. So if a
Yeah.
guy comes to your doorstep and says, "Ki sir, this is your iPhone 12, abhi
Hmm.
de do iPhone 11." You're like, "Boss, I need some time to do my data transfer, be
True.
comfortable with my new iPhone 12. I don't know whether I like it or not, and
Yeah.
maybe I need this phone maybe for some other purpose."
Yeah.
So a large chunk of population will still keep their phones and trade them later. But a
Yeah.
significant portion is today exchanging.
Hmm.
And my sense is that of all the phones that are sold today, around 15% transactions are exchange transactions.
Yeah.
This number will start going up and become 35-40%.
Hmm. So when you talk about the exchange now, a lot of people will look up on Flipkart and Amazon that, exchange your old phone, select your model, select the condition and get a price.
Correct.
Where do you see a business like Cashify going and tying up with an Amazon or a Flipkart saying, this exchange that you're doing, we will be the guys that can refurbish it and sell it back on your platform? Because there's always that question is, where is my device going once Flipkart or Amazon picks it up, right? So do you
Yeah.
see that also as a potential market where you can be the guys who refurbish these devices?
So to be honest, majority of the device which go on these platforms come back to us. So we have
Okay.
a backend tie-up with these guys,
Yeah.
and we are the ones, who collect these devices, refurbish and sell.
Okay. So then you
I mean,
guys are also involved in setting the price for a buyback
correct,
or a
correct.
prospective price and things like
I
that.
mean, if you go to any offline, we work with almost all large format retail chains.
Hmm.
You walk into any of their stores and you want to buy a phone and sell your old, they use our platform to evaluate it, and then the device comes to us. You
Okay.
walk into any Apple store in the country, they're using our platform.
Hmm.
Uh, Vivo, Oppo, Xiaomi, we've tied up with all the brands, and whatever exchange and trade-in happens on their platform is run through us.
Okay, okay. That's interesting information.
Yeah.
Moving a little away from the business side of it, like you said, you're made as someone you've educated over refurbished gadgets and helped them get better
Yeah.
devices, longer
Yeah.
lasting devices at a price. Can you talk about any other CSR activities that Cashify has undertaken, especially considering the pandemic situation that you would like to talk about?
Well, there are two projects which are pretty close to my heart. The one is recycling of devices, and that's where we as founders our roots are highly entrenched in waste management. So
Hmm.
what we offer is we offer people to recycle their devices on our platform. So if you have your old BlackBerry or Nokia which has no intrinsic value, you
Hmm.
can come onto the platform and raise a request. We'll come to your house, pick up the device, make sure that it's responsibly recycled, and
Hmm.
for every device that we pick up we plant a tree.
Hmm.
So it's our way of giving back to the society and making sure that the devices or the resource pool which is lying in drawers
Hmm.
comes out in the mainstream and gets reused. The
Okay.
second project that we've picked up, especially in the pandemic period, is a donate for education program.
Hmm.
We very early on realized that kids who don't have access to devices and who are not able to go to schools,
Hmm.
how do we help them? So initially we gave a few phones from our balance sheet just as a goodwill gesture to a few NGOs and few kids, and we realized that it's not a problem which can be solved with say 50 phones or 100 phones.
Hmm.
There are thousands and thousands of children who don't have access to these technology or smartphones.
Hmm.
And as a company, we can't just go out and give out 2,000 smartphones for free or 4,000 smartphones. That our balance sheet does not allow it.
Hmm.
So he said, why don't we facilitate this transaction on our platform and build a platform where anybody, you, me, anybody can donate their old smartphones.
Hmm.
We'll come to your home, pick up your old smartphone, refurbish them, and then make them available to kids through the NGO partnerships that we have. And over the last few months, we've tied up with around 20 NGOs. We've donated hundreds of smartphones to kids in different parts of the country, and it's very heartening to see when those kids send you a video saying thank you. I'm preparing for IIT JEE, or I'm preparing for the NEET test,
Hmm.
and getting access to the smartphone has really helped. So what we've done is we've made it institutionalized on our platform. So if you go on Cashify.in, you will see a small ticker which says donate your old phone,
Hmm.
and it could be any phone as long as it's working, it's not damaged. We'll come to your house, pick it up for free, make sure that it's refurbished, and it goes to somebody who deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a very interesting setup for, ensuring that devices are reached by to a wider audience rather than just your neighbors or your maids or, known people.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Cashify front or on the refurbished gadgets front that you'd like to talk about that I may not have asked in these questions?
Well, I think you've honestly covered everything. The most important piece is, can consumers trust a
Yeah.
refurbished device? And I think this industry has come to a place where the trust is starting to get built. There are a few players who are selling devices which are in good condition. The price points are much more attractive, and you can buy as good as new device at say 35 to 40% discount to the new device price. So I think uh, trust is something which will get built over time, and I think we feel that this market is going to grow tremendously, because there's a large population which still is moving from a feature phone to smartphone, and people keep want aspirational value or aspiration of people want get them to move from one model to the other. Everybody in the end wants to own the latest iPhone 12, but not everyone can afford it,
Yeah.
right? So it's a way of making affordability, or a good specification, high quality device available at a lower price point. So I think we are pretty kicked, and I think over the next 5 years, this market is going to be pretty huge.
Absolutely, that. And for all of you that are watching this, if you guys want, you can always check out what the refurbished market is offering on Cashify and just look it up online. It is actually a pretty growing thing, be it not only with smartphones, laptops. There are way too many gadgets, and like Mandeep said, this space is only going to keep growing. And if you guys have any questions that you want, you can always let us know in the comment sections below. We will do our best to answer it. That was it from me, Samir. We will catch you guys in another video. Bye for now.